This is the time of year when folks like to make New Year's resolutions and maybe have troubles with some of those.
Yes, indeed.
And we have a guest here to tell us a little bit about that.
David Bush is here. And speaking of resolutions, coming up on Totally Serious Rip and Read headlines, the top resolutions made by single people. So we'll have that list coming up. But you might say, that name, Dave Bush, where have I heard that name before? Well, remember the Iowa Barnstormers? 65? 65, number 65 in your program, number 1 in your heart, of course. You look a little different, my friend.
Yes, I've been working on a disappearing act.
You have, I guess you have. So, first of all, let's go back and talk about the Barnstormers, because you were there when things just start going.
Yeah, first year, 1995, we went to the semifinals, and Kurt lost that game for us, if you remember.
One of these days, he'll get his act together, and maybe he'll do something with his life.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's going to take off someday.
Yeah, he'll become popular and maybe find a team somewhere, maybe Waterboy or something like that. But again, you were there when it first came up with that idea. Now, where did you play prior to that?
Well, I went to the University of South Dakota, which is, Lou, is the Harvard of the Midwest.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. Right, okay.
Yeah, and I graduated from there as an All-American and got the opportunity to come down with the Barnstormers and try out, and ended up sticking around for 4 years. And we went to 2 Arena Bowl championship games, and I was the offensive center. So a lot of people say that had it not been for me, Kurt Warner never would have been anywhere.
He never would have had the ball. He never would have had the ball.
Yeah, so really, that's a lot of importance. He never really writes that in his book, but, I got
he makes all those touchdown passes and last-second game-winning throws or runs. And where'd the ball start off with? Right here. This guy right here.
Yeah. Well, we still have some litigation going against him.
Wow.
Hey, my goodness, looks good, doesn't he? Yeah. So it was a fun career, and then in 1998, I suffered what a lot of experts call a career-ending lack of talent, and ended up moving on with life. And
it's tragic.
It's very tragic.
No, wait, before we talk about your what you're doing for the new year, I want to just shift gears and stay in the football realm here. We were talking about RG3 and how he was hurt so bad yesterday. I'm sure you watched that game. Would you have taken him out of that game and put Cousins in, or would you have left RG3 in there because he's so dynamic?
I like RG3. I love his heart, and I was watching the interview after the game, and if it was me, I wouldn't want him been taken out. I mean, that's the reason why we play the game, is that we get a chance to give our very, very best, and I think that that's exactly what he did. Whether that turns out to be, tragic in terms of his knee, I don't know, but I saw his heart, and his leadership was that he wanted to be out on that field, and I just would listen to his heart, and I hope that they made the right decision.
So you'd have taken the decision of the player over a decision of the coach?
Personally, as a player, I wouldn't have ever wanted to be taken out, and I've played through pain and injury many different times, and I just don't know how tragic his particular situation was. So
I just hope it's not career-ending.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll just have to keep an eye on that. But people keeping an eye on 2013 right now, and you've done a couple of different things besides play football.
Yeah, well, it's been a passion of mine to be a people farmer. I want to help people grow, and I worked as a motivational speaker for many years, and just never could figure out a way to get myself motivated to lose weight and keep it off. So,
well, tell us about it.
It's hard.
It's a challenge. I mean, it's a challenge to get healthy in America. I mean, everywhere you look, there's more food and less exercise to do. Right. And I was subject to that. And even though I was a very motivated guy, I was always put in a place that, I could eat more, and I was actually expected to.
Now, how big did you get here?
Well, I was about 310 pounds in that picture there on the left, and I graduated high school 327 pounds.
Holy moly.
Wow. So it was not unusual for me to be over 300 pounds, but I just wasn't playing football in that kind of shape. And a friend of mine challenged me to change my life, and said, "Hey, Dave, try it for 28 days, 4 weeks." I said, you know what, I think that I could do it. He had lost 50 pounds, and I thought, well, if he could do it, I could do it. And it was just a different time. I'd had 2 back surgeries in 2007. And sometimes when you go over the waterfall of bad health and you start to feel the pain, you start to make things a little bit more significant in your life about what you're going to do. And I just made up my mind. For 28 days, I would not come away from this process and this program. And after 28 days, I just realized that it was time for me to keep going. And in 6 months, I lost 100 pounds.
Oh, my gosh.
And that was 3.5 years ago.
What were you doing for 28 days?
basically eating every 2 to 3 hours.
See, that's the thing that I can't get. How do you do that? Because I've jumped on some programs, too, a couple of different times, and you say the workouts are really hard, and you have to get up early to go and work out. You have to work out so many times a week. You can maybe get one day off. But the eating part is the thing that is probably the most difficult.
Well, you've probably heard many other times that you just can't out-exercise bad diets. I mean, when you eat too many calories, it's hard to work that off.
Especially when you get older.
Yeah, when you got kids and you got a busy career and you're as successful as the three of you, I mean, it's hard, you know.
Thank you.
Everybody's always buying you drinks or buying you dinner, buying you lunch, and and sometimes you just have to start saying, you know what, I'm going to make my health a priority, and that's the challenge, and that's what I challenge other people to do, is to really make it a priority in their life, because if they don't, other people won't.
Right.
So if the idea of eating every 2 to 3 hours, smaller meals, healthier meals, I mean, most of us know what to do. We're just not doing it.
Right.
So now it's time to build a little community of people to start getting healthier. And, Jason's obviously gotten healthier, so I think that if Jason got healthier and I got healthier, everybody can get healthier, right, Jason?
I would agree 100%. And I think diet is at least 80% of it. I mean, exercise is fine, and it's important, but yeah, you're right. I mean, you can't exercise your way out of it. There's no way.
Well, it starts out with a plan. You got to have a plan. I mean, there's an old quote by Jim Rohn that says, if you fail to create your own plan, chances are you'll fall into somebody else's plan. And there's millions and millions of dollars of marketing that are planning on what we're going to do for food. I mean, if you look on the television, just for a short period of time, you got lots of food options.
Right.
So you've got to have a better plan. You've got to create a plan before the day starts that says, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm not going to do. And if you review the plan before you get started, a lot of people can keep themselves on the track as long as they got the railroad tracks laid out in front of them.
Now, how long ago was it when you first did this, 3.5 years ago?
It was December 28th, 2008 is when I started the 28-day challenge, and I just did it 28 days after 28 days after 28 days. And 6 months through that process, I was down 100 pounds. Now, that's not everybody's story, but that was my story.
So what was the first, in the first week, what was the hardest thing for you to overcome the first week?
Changing my perspective. If I was to ask you, what's the very best day of the week to go on a diet? Best week.
But the best day of the week?
Probably
best day of the
Monday,
week.
probably.
Most people say tomorrow. but next you'd say Monday. But in reality, the National Weight Control Registry, which tracks all different types of diets and programs, they say that 85% of people that go on a diet without changing their behaviors, without going through some behavior change to have a new kind of normal, are going to gain the weight back within 2 years of losing it. So there's no good day to go on a diet. So the hardest thing for me to accept is that this was going to be the way I was going to live my life for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And accepting it as a life change, not just as a short-term change.
Right.
So you don't have to eat less calories than you're burning for the rest of your life. That's what you have to do to lose weight. You have to take in less calories than you burn in a day. But you have to maintain this idea that health is good. I mean, if I was to say, hey, tonight for the big game, we're going to have a healthy celebration, most people would say,
yeah, exactly. Salad and carrots.
We're going for the fried chicken.
Yeah, I mean, the idea about eating healthy in America is seen as a negative. And I think that when you look at health as being a positive, I mean, what's the very best day to live a healthier, happier, and more successful life? And when would you want to start it?
Right. I mean, for example, you're obviously
right
you're
after
going to
this
watch
plate of breakfast.
You're going to watch Notre Dame and Alabama later on tonight. No question about it. A lot of people are. What are you going to have for your snacks?
Well,
because if you have to eat every 2 or 3 hours, you're going to have to eat while the game's on.
Yeah, I mean, I try to get a veggie tray in front of every big game. I mean, if you can bring a veggie tray to a game, you can give yourself some healthy little snacks in between times, and you don't have to go straight to the chips. And it's not about not eating great food. I mean, that food right there, tasty food. But if you're trying to lose weight, that food is not going to be the best solution to get you where you want to go.
And you don't have to be without to give this up forever. Now, I would not normally eat this on a daily basis, but yeah, I'm going to have some of this.
Oh, yeah.
I won't finish it all by any means, but you can treat yourself a little bit.
Yeah,
you just can't expect to eat biscuits and gravy every morning.
Right. Well, Benjamin Franklin said this quote a few hundred years ago, and he said, "Since the invention of cookware, mankind has eaten twice the amount that nature requires." That was written a couple hundred years ago, but now our plates are getting to the point where they get bigger and bigger. And so if we can go back to thinking about a plate size, about the size of our hand, and it's about a 7 to 9 inch circumference, and if we can just look at our plate as being that.
Yeah, but he has a gigantic hand.
I want to use his hand.
for my plate. Yeah.
How many times can you fill that plate?
Once. One time through.
All right. So David, what if people want to get some information on this? How can they take part in your 28-day extraordinary health challenge?
Yeah, we've got a great corporate wellness promotion and health challenge and a new book coming out called the 28-day extraordinary health challenge.
Awesome.
And they can get more information. They can take the challenge at www.ehealthchallenge.com.
eHealth Challenge.
You bet.
I'm checking it out today. Awesome.
All right, definitely, and we'll send this up on the Twitters too. So great
Awesome.
day, DM, follow us, and we'll send that to you, or just go to our website or our Facebook page. We'll have all the information there as well. Wonderful, good seeing you, man.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
And we'll go ahead and come back in 28 days and let you know how much slimmer and trimmer we are.
You know what? We should do that. We should actually challenge ourselves and see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
On air. Hey, we got the before photo.
I mean,
Let's go.
yeah.
We'll be right back. This is Great Day.